For decades, fake watches were crude imitations, but today something is changing. In China, there are workshops producing replicas so precise that even experts have doubts. This is not just a piracy issue. It's a story of engineering, technology, and a growing threat to traditional luxury brands. Is the watch industry facing its greatest silent challenge? Today, I bring you an in-depth analysis of how Chinese replicas are challenging brands like Rolex, Omega, Audemars Piguet, and Patek Philippe. Get ready, because you're going to uncover uncomfortable truths that few dare to tell. Section 1. Evolution of replicas, from fakes to clones. Just 2 decades ago, spotting a fake watch was child's play. Poor finishes, deformed logos, shiny plastic straps, noisy mechanisms. It only took a glance to know you were looking at a cheap imitation. But something has changed radically. And the worst part is that few are seeing it coming. Today, replicas are no longer called that. Now they call themselves superclones. And they circulate in private channels, collector forums, and Telegram groups with thousands of members who discuss to what extent they are indistinguishable. And, attention, we are not talking about copies that look similar. We are talking about watches that even experts have had to open in a laboratory to know they are not original. And why are they so dangerous? Because they imitate everything. Quality of materials, real sapphire crystals, not mineral like before. 904L steel cases. Yes, the same alloy that Rolex uses. Ceramic bezel, solid bracelets well articulated with laser-engraved clasp, cloned movements. They no longer use generic Miyota or Seagull. Some workshops replicate the 2824, 3130, or even 4130 movements with such accuracy that they even replicate the rotor decoration pattern and internal engravings. Luminescence, weight, dimensions. The hands shine like the originals. The weight is balanced. The thickness of the case, the domed crystal, the rehaut, everything is calibrated to the millimeter. And the most striking, the price. You can get an almost perfect clone of a Rolex Submariner for $300 to $500. Yes, less than the official maintenance of a genuine watch. And the most unsettling part. Some people are buying them, not as counterfeits, but as a real alternative for daily use, to try before buying the original, or even to resell as authentic. Section 2. How are these super replicas made? When we think of counterfeits, the image that usually comes to mind is that of a street market with cheap and poorly finished watches. But the universe of super replicas is another world. These pieces are not made in improvised workshops. They are created in specialized microfactories, often hidden in plain sight, but equipped with state-of-the-art CNC machinery capable of carving 3061L steel or even titanium with millimetric tolerances. The people responsible for these replicas do not improvise. They have access to high-resolution 3D scans of original watches and use reverse engineering software to clone the design in all its details. In many cases, these factories buy an authentic model, carefully disassemble it, and analyze each component, from the movement gears to the dial finish. Then, they replicate piece by piece, even adjusting the decoration of the bridges and the rotor to resemble the original caliber. The most surprising thing is how they mimic industrial processes almost identical to the Swiss. PVD treatments for coatings, high-precision lasers to engrave serial numbers or logos on the rehaut, and even the use of domed sapphire crystals with anti-reflective treatment on both sides. And they don't stop there. The threaded crowns work with such fine threading that they provide real water resistance. The date mechanisms change at midnight with a sharp click, without irregular jumps. The deployant clasps have security systems practically identical to the authentic ones, and the hands, indices, and loom are applied with such precision that, at times, not even an expert can distinguish them from the originals at first glance. It's a new level of counterfeiting. They don't aim to deceive the clueless tourist, but the informed collector. And the most unsettling part is that some of these factories produce versions that cost hundreds of dollars, but whose quality can rival watches worth thousands. Section 3. Why do people buy these replicas? It's not just about appearing luxurious or impressing on social media. Behind the purchase of these replicas, there are motivations much more varied and complex than it seems. Some buyers see them as a rational way to enjoy an iconic design, a Submariner, a Royal Oak, a Nautilus, without having to spend 10,000, 20,000, or even more. For them, it's not a matter of status, but of access to design and aesthetics. Others use them as a learning tool. They buy them to train the eye, study the details, and learn to distinguish the real from the fake. Especially in the world of collectors, having a good replica can serve as practice before going for the authentic one. There are also those who simply want a nice watch that looks good on the wrist, regardless of whether it is original or not. They are interested in the aesthetics, the feeling of quality, the design, but they are not willing or able to pay thousands of dollars just for a logo. But not everything is innocent. There is a darker group that buys these replicas with another intention: to resell them as if they were originals. That's where the real problem begins. When a super replica enters the second-hand market, it can deceive even experienced sellers, especially if it comes with a box and documentation that are also forged. This not only harms buyers, but also erodes trust in the resale market, affecting both individuals and legitimate stores. In summary, not all buyers are looking for the same thing. For some, it's aesthetics. For others, it's curiosity or learning. But for some, it's outright fraud. Section 4. What response do luxury brands have? The major watchmaking houses have not stood idly by. Every year, they invest millions of dollars in technological innovation, security, and legal litigation to curb the advance of super replicas. But this is a race fought on several fronts. Rolex, for example, has turned its watches into true technological fortresses, from micro-laser engravings invisible to the human eye to hidden holograms, crystals with barely perceptible crowns, and calibers with double certifications like Cost and Superlative Chronometer that guarantee unmatched precision and finish. They have even developed their own alloys like oyster steel and cerachrome, which are difficult to replicate accurately. Omega, for its part, has implemented an anti-cloning strategy with components that go beyond aesthetics. Their coaxial master chronometer movements, certified by Meta's feature levels of anti-magnetic resistance, Côte de Genève arabesque decorations, and hand-finished bridges that require Swiss watchmaking technology and expertise of the highest level. Moreover, the use of calibers with complex internal architecture and patented parts seriously hinders functional copying, not just visual. Even so, the reality is harsh. There are replicas made that manage to deceive even experienced watchmakers. Watches that weigh the same, feel the same on the wrist, and even pass basic timing tests. In the legal field, brands are fighting a constant battle: lawsuits, raids, website shutdowns, and international seizures. But the enemy is elusive. Chinese factories operate with agility. They change names, open new websites, use cryptocurrencies, offshore servers, and social networks to get back in business within weeks. It's a modern hydra. You cut off one head, and three more appear. In this game of cat and mouse, brands understand that it is no longer enough to protect the brand. Now they must protect every screw, every engraving, every gear, because luxury is no longer defended only with design or history. It is defended with science, precision, and strategy. Cling. Section 5. Real consequences for the industry. The rise of super replicas is not just a curiosity of the digital world, nor a minor issue. It is having very real, very visible, and very concerning consequences for the watchmaking industry. First of all, trust in the secondary market is eroded. Every time a high-end replica slips into the second-hand listings, buyers become more cautious. Stores, collectors, and individuals see how the shadow of doubt devalues even authentic products. Reselling between individuals, once something simple and straightforward, becomes complicated. Now it is common for buyers to demand proof of purchase, certificates, unboxing videos, or directly refuse to buy without an official guarantee. This especially affects those who want to sell their watch transparently, but do not have a receipt from years ago. Online platforms like eBay, Chrono24, or local marketplaces have seen an increase in documented frauds. Some sellers disguise replicas as homages or aftermarket. Others simply pass them off as originals with fake boxes and papers. The sophistication of these replicas has reached the point where even the security filters of these platforms fail. And most seriously, novice users are the main ones affected. Excited to find a bargain, they fall into scams that can cost them hundreds or thousands of euros. After that, many lose faith in collecting, and the community gradually fragments. But beyond the economic aspect, there is a philosophical consequence that unsettles the entire industry. If the aesthetics, the weight, the feel, even the movement can be matched for a fraction of the price, then what are we really buying? A watch as an instrument, a piece of engineering, or a narrative, a heritage, a status symbol? That is the question that luxury brands cannot avoid, because luxury is not only in the object, but in what it represents. And when the copy manages to imitate not only the product but the experience, the real value begins to blur. Section 6. Is there anything positive in all this? After everything we have seen, it would be easy to think that we are facing a threat without a solution. But as in many crises, there is also a positive side. The rise of super replicas is forcing the industry to review itself, reinvent, and respond with excellence. On one hand, traditional watchmaking art is being revalued. Handmade pieces, in-house calibers, hand-filed finishes, artisanal adjustment. Everything that a machine in China cannot fully replicate is gaining more value than ever among true watch enthusiasts. On the other hand, customers are raising their level of demand. A logo and a nice box are no longer enough. Today, buyers want transparency, history, traceability, after-sales service, real guarantees, and an experience that justifies every euro invested. And perhaps the most positive aspect, collectors are more informed and educated than ever. They know how to read a movement, detect a poorly done engraving, identify incorrect fonts, or check the alignment of a bezel. Many of them are no longer swayed by empty marketing. They seek real watchmaking, with soul, with substance. In that sense, these replicas may be acting as an uncomfortable mirror, a reminder to brands that luxury cannot rely solely on the aura of exclusivity, but must justify its price with innovation, authenticity, and commitment. Because when the exterior can be imitated 99%, the content becomes the true differentiator. And maybe, just maybe, that will lead us to a new era of luxury that is more honest, more technical, and more conscious. Chinese replicas are no longer a joke. They are a silent revolution that is changing the watch industry. What do you think? Are they a threat, an opportunity, or simply an inevitable reality? Leave it in the comments. I would love to debate with you with respect and a passion for watches. And if you found this topic interesting, don't forget to subscribe to Mundo Relojes, because here we not only talk about watches, we talk about history, design, identity, and the future. See you in the next video.